It's important to remember all the things people have done that are they're stupid.
Podcastle definitely listens, don't you? You do, don't you, Podcastle?
Like it's not a word that has magical powers, and if you say it, something great happens.
Kiss.
Sushi jackknife. 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 Sushi jackknife.
Together again.
There's like Smutz
Scratch the
on my
you get
my little windscreen here. It's not going away.
you got Smutz on your God, what do they call these things? I bought these little black foam things that go in microphones, right? One of the first audio purchases I made as a teen was at a Radio Shack in Blue Ridge, Georgia, I think.
There you go.
And these dudes, I'll never forget them for being idiots. They were like, oh, you buying a couple of microphone condoms there, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Wind condoms?
That's what they're called.
That's what they called.
That's the technical name. Everybody who has ever done anything with sound knows that. I'm really surprised you didn't know that already. So,
well, I was a mere 15 or so.
I thought you were born with the gift. The gift.
Oh, the gift of audio?
Yeah, the gift of audio and knowledge of all things wind condom related. So.
No, but that's one of those things I wish I could forget, but I'll never forget that. Those guys.
No, you don't want to forget that.
Jackasses made an impression.
It's important to remember all the things people have done that are they're stupid. Because they make good stories later on in life, you know? Like right now,
that's true.
You have this for a podcast. If they had told you the proper name for that, you wouldn't have anything.
You're right. You're so right about that.
Thank you, people who hopefully aren't still unemployed from your Radio Shack going out of business.
Yeah, I should have known from that first interaction that I would be entering a lifelong pursuit filled with a bunch of pedantic fuckheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. People who argue over dumb shit.
That's the title of your autobiography, A Lifelong Pursuit with pedantic fuckheads. So
pedantic is one of my favorite words lately.
It's a good word
because
I like it.
I can't stand people who are overly pedantic. Now, I actually screenshotted it because I thought I was misusing it, but turns out I was correct. And I'm laughing because this is something a pedant would do.
Right.
A pedant is three definitions. One who is unimaginative or who unduly emphasizes minutia in the presentation or use of knowledge. Okay. That's sort of how I'm using it.
Right.
B, one who makes a show of knowledge.
Okay.
And C, a formalist or precisionist in teaching. An obsolete usage is a male school teacher. So
there you go.
Every male school teacher was a pedant, which sounds too close to another word.
Yeah.
Way too close.
Yeah. I'm sure there was some crossover there though, so that's fine.
Oh, definitely.
we need to incorporate word of the week every time we do an episode now.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I do have to bring back tonight? Because we're entering our sort of like second or third flirtation with segmenty type stuff.
Yeah.
Just a flirtation. It won't last.
It happens every so often.
Time to time, I feel the need.
Right.
I think you do too.
It's good
to sort of, bring a thing or two to the table. And so tonight, for the first time in many, many ages, I'm bringing back the white people racial slur.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited about this one. Are
you excited?
Well, I've got several reasons. I'm assuming we'll get into it later in the episode. Do you want to do it now?
We could do it now.
I mean,
It's fine with me.
I don't. So I'll explain why I'm excited about it then.
Okay.
2 reasons. Number 1, this episode will be out for Juneteenth, which means it's a very special white. Like, this is for any of our African American friends listening, a word that you can use freely any day, but especially on Juneteenth towards people that look like us. We deserve it. But
those of a paler complexion.
I spent far too much time yesterday on Reddit in this one specific thread.
Okay.
So we're about to have more Kendrick Lamar news. Apparently that needs to be a segment too, is what's going on with Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar is having a Juneteenth concert.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now his involvement in this story is done. But the people on Reddit that are excited about this, many of them look like us, which is fine.
Sure.
White people are allowed to enjoy the arts of other nationalities respectfully. You must be respectful.
Of course.
The conversation on Reddit drifted into, at the Juneteenth concert, when they play any Kendrick Lamar song, are white people allowed to say the N-word?
Why is that a conversation?
It shouldn't be, right? The answer is absolutely no. The answer is no. The answer, like, there's no
it's
debate.
An easy question.
But apparently I'm not in the majority that think there's no debate on that. Because this whole thread, it went on forever about, no, like, if you're at a concert and you're a paying customer, you're allowed to say it. No,
oh boy,
you're not. Guess what? And then there were a whole series of people suggesting alternatives that somehow make it worse, because you're finding a word that sounds as close to the word as possible and hoping that you can just do it. And that's not good either.
No, none of this. No.
So, before we get to our white people slur, I do think it's important for us to take an official Sushi Jackknife stand here. The only racial slurs that should be used are white people racial slurs.
Approved.
I don't care if it's in a song, and I don't care how much you paid for a ticket to a concert. If you do not look like Kendrick Lamar, you do not get to say the word.
It's true.
I don't know why you want to. I don't. That's a thing I've never understood. Like, why are there people who desperately want to say the N-word?
Yeah. And you're getting into some white people bullshit when people start talking about how they paid for something and then therefore they have the right to do something else. That's classic white people bullshit territory.
That's the ultimate white people bullshit argument right there. Like,
well, I paid
my good money, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
I will be killing this hooker. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it blew my mind that this was an argument anyway. And then number 2, that theoretically all the people who were talking about this are fans of Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Who is
like one of the most intelligent rappers.
He's a conscious rapper. It's not like these aren't, not to throw more crap his way, but these aren't Drake fans.
Right.
They're not, theoretically, they're not shallow. I really like the beat on that song. I didn't listen to any words fans.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
So don't, if you go to that concert, anyone listening, if you're white, don't say it. Just don't.
No.
Also, if you don't go to that concert, don't say it. It's not that hard. The songs all have a bunch of lyrics, and you skip one specific word.
That's how you do it.
It's not difficult.
in your car by yourself, is it acceptable?
No.
Right. That's correct.
It's not.
It's not. You just don't do it at all. You never do it.
It's not acceptable. There are two reasons it's not acceptable. Number one, if you're doing it by yourself, then you're just pretending that it's not acceptable when you're in mixed company. But
Right.
you're like, nah, it's fine. And the second reason, and a more practical reason for anyone doing it, if you do it in your car, how likely are you to slip up in what you consider the wrong time and say it then and get your ass beat? And I don't feel bad for you.
No, it bodes
But
well.
I don't.
For no one. Yeah.
Right. So no, don't say it. Just don't say it. It's not
Just don't say it.
like it's not a word that has magical powers, and if you say it, something great happens.
There's a lot of other fun words out there too. Like, I'm not saying it's a fun word, but if you want to say something racy, you have your choice. Not racy as in racial. God,
Racy.
this is a minefield. If you want to say something, what's the word I'm looking for?
Racy.
Contentious.
Yeah.
There's plenty of words to choose from. Like, take your pick.
Yeah.
For example, this one. You ready for this?
Yes.
This is just one of many, by the way. We've covered a few in the past. I remember one was ditch pig. That was one.
My child, by the way, has become a regular ditch pig.
Oh, yeah?
He does like to go lay out in the ditch beside our road from time to time.
A muddy ditch.
It's not muddy, but if there was mud, it wouldn't stop him. So,
well, if you're a ditch pig, that was almost a slip up too. If you're a ditch pig, you could also be a bog trotter.
oh,
Bog trotter.
bog trotter.
A bog trotter, by definition, Nathan, is a person of low class. I can't talk. A person of low class Irish ancestry. So there you go. You could be a bog trotter in addition to a ditch pig and a honky and all that other stuff. Yeah.
It's weird how we're very, very. I want to say racist to the Irish. I don't know if I guess it's not if they're Caucasian, whatever it is. Back in the day, and it was a whole debate of is it right or wrong, and now we've reached a point where the Irish are so accepted that it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
look at those ginger freaks.
Now, are you the least bit Irish?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I've never done a like 23andMe
Sure.
type of setup, but as far as I know, we're like as British as it gets.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact. I just assume.
That's more or less true of me. I do have a little dash
Yeah.
of Irish in there, but like it's like so much English and just a touch. So the classic question for this part of the show is: are you offended if someone was to call you a bog trotter?
No,
No,
I'm not.
Neither am I.
This is a job for Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
He's a man with a way with words. Like he's won a Pulitzer. He
Yes.
needs to come up with a white person slur.
oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, he would be good at it.
Yeah. Or anyone listening here that fancies themselves a poet, anyone that has that way with words, I'd like to hear your white person slur.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, the harsher, the better. Because,
yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, we've earned it.
We have. We've done a great job at earning it.
Yeah, it's like we should have them coming at us from all angles, and still the only one you regularly hear is Cracker, and it just makes people go,
That was a band. That was a band I liked.
Cracker? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I was low.
it's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, the more ruthless, the better, because there's a part of me that finds it entertaining. The harsher it is,
Right.
It becomes almost impressive in a way. If it ever hits a nerve, because most of these don't hit a nerve at all. Because
not at all.
There's no nerve to hit. But
I do think though that it really would be good for all of us honkies to have a racial slur that really offended us.
Yeah.
Just so you have like a fraction of the knowledge of what it feels like when other people get that one racial slur. Not just African Americans, every other race, it seems like, has a racial slur that has a terrible connotation to it and hurts people. And then there's white people.
Truly, I'm on a sort of dodgy Wikipedia page of ethnic slurs, and
that sounds like a problem.
There's a lot of them.
Read your 10 favorite. Go.
And I mean they're organized by letters, so there's quite a few. So there you go. There's the white people racial slur of the week for you this week. Adding to the pantheon with Bog Trotter.
So, really, it sounds to me like Bog Trotter is just an Irish ditch pig.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the idea.
Like if you called someone a ditch pig in Ireland, they'd go, "No, that's a Bog Trotter."
Yeah. Where are you from?
Yeah, they're not from around here.
A bog is like a swamp, right? And if you're trotting through the bog, you're sort of wading through the swamp.
Right.
There you go. That makes sense.
Fewer ditches in Ireland.
Yeah.
So
more low-lying swampy areas.
That's it. But no, I'm not offended. No.
It's hard to be.
Hard to be. Here's the thing. It's going to be very hard to ever offend me with a racial slur because there's nothing in our background that has like the weighted language to it.
Right. There's no teeth. It has no teeth. Yeah.
Not for the best, by the way.
Right. No. We're not like making that point.
We could have used a good taking down a few centuries ago. It would have saved a lot of trouble if someone had taken us down a notch or two. But
ow, that one really hurts.
Maybe we shouldn't be the worst.
I'm rethinking my ways. I have another thing, but maybe I'll save it for a little down the road.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean that's fine with me. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Is our white person slur of the week a sign of our white guilt?
I mean, yeah.
Like
in a way.
Okay. So I keep hearing this be brought up for whatever reason lately. People talking about they're only doing that out of white guilt. I don't know that I buy that. Like I don't know that white guilt is as prevalent as everyone thinks it is.
Like you definitely see it with, this is going to be hard to articulate, but certain things like I see a lot of well-meaning lefty type.
The NPR.
The NPR, which I'm definitely a part of, who do things without really talking to the people it affects, but they do things thinking like being well-intentioned, I
guess that would fall in the lines of like the white people who threw a fit about Speedy Gonzalez.
Right.
Being in the, that does happen quite a bit. Being in Space Jam, and then all of the Hispanic people were like, "Oh, we really like Speedy Gonzalez, so please go ahead and keep him in the movie."
Yes, it's like the people that get offended for other people.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, let them lead that. Like you don't have to preemptively, get in front of it.
That does drive me insane. It's always like when things like George Floyd happen,
Yeah.
where like everyone should be offended, but you see white people trying to take charge of being offended.
Yeah, like it's like we really should just like back off a little bit, you know, and like let it take. I mean, you can be an ally, you can be, you know,
you're not in charge,
right?
As a white, straight, cisgendered male, I have very few, like social issues that I should be the head of.
If you find yourself at the head of one, it's probably a good time to reevaluate.
Something went terribly wrong. If I'm at the head of it, either it's a terrible group and nothing's going to get done. Like everyone that it would benefit bailed and it's just me.
Right.
or I am in a situation I am not prepared for.
Totally. You don't want to be the one. Like I saw it in some of the stuff I've been doing since I've been up here. I've been in the room for some DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion things. Yeah. And you know, I know your community is mostly this like homogenous, you know, but like you probably ought to want to diversify the committee if you can, like give it a shot, you know, like
boy, awfully pale diversity committee
exactly.
Here.
I like to make the joke that here in Vermont you have every type of white person, and that's your diversity. They're all here.
Oh.
You got white people that like the outdoors, white people that like to read, white people that like to play sports.
You got ditch pigs, you got bog trotters, you got
totally. You got limeys, Frenchies, everybody. They're all here.
You should go into one of those meetings and just start throwing around your white people slurs.
I'm sick of these goddamn bog trotters.
We got bog trotters out the wazoo right now, guys. Come on.
Yeah, they got a diversity problem. They really do up here.
Well,
I mean, I know I'm not taking anything away from the South because they're really fucking up on a lot of levels. But
yeah, we also have a diversity problem, but for a very different reason. Namely, we chose to have that diversity problem, and we're just sticking to it.
That's right.
So
it actually, like, I do think it is more diverse. Like New England, I don't think is very diverse generally, but like down south is actually more diverse.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so I am reading a book right now about the history of hot chicken.
Oh, that's awesome! Really,
this relates here. Yes, and it's told like the writer who I think she I can't even remember who it is that wrote it, but they work at Vanderbilt here in Nashville, and they're talking about the history of hot chicken, but tracing like the growth of Nashville through the Prince family.
Oh yeah,
cool. Who the Prince family started Nashville hot chicken, which the fun story is that one of them was a little bit of a philanderer, and so the hot chicken was created because his wife was very upset with him, and it was a failed punishment because he tasted it and went, that's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. Thus spawning an empire.
Right.
Yeah.
So bad punishing. But so this is why there's more diversity there. In the book, they were talking about during Civil War and post-Civil War times, there were specific areas in the South that were basically havens, like safe havens for people to go to.
Right.
So like Nashville was one of them, where you would have a large amount of people who were formerly slaves or are technically currently slaves, but they got away.
Right. Right. They escaped.
Go there and they were protected. And so you did have a lot more. It's why there's a larger African-American population in the South because of stuff like that.
Totally.
Very few, if they went north, are going to go all the way north.
Yeah, that's true.
They're going to stop at some point. So, yeah, I mean, I would assume that the main diversity up there at any point in time was actually Native Americans.
Yes, there are several tribes, namely the Abenaki are the big ones here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still there? Andrew Jackson didn't get to him.
There's a few. It's funny. I keep going on these field trips. Lately, they've packed all the field trips into the last like month of school. Right?
Okay,
'Cause school is still happening here, and I've been on 3 now, and they're putting a lot of time. I don't know if this is just like a grade level thing or not, into the American Revolution.
Okay.
And I was talking to one of the teachers this week on a field trip, and I said, like, I actually don't know a lot about the American Revolution. I know way more about the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, where did you grow up? And I said, well, there's your answer. Like,
Right.
I grew up in Georgia. Like, we spent 2 years of middle school
Right.
deep diving.
And you know way more about the South's viewpoint of
Yes,
the
I
Civil
do.
War than
I do.
anyone up there does.
I mean, I grew up thinking that Robert E. Lee was like a really good guy,
Yeah.
and that General Sherman was like the devil.
Yeah.
Which arguably there might be something there, but I don't think you can argue that Lee was like a great dude.
No. And you know, you get to hear phrases like "War of Northern Aggression,"
Yes.
which is, yeah, okay,
Right. Exactly. So like in Kansas, like, did you guys weren't involved.
So Kansas was a territory,
Right.
and
Okay.
it was battled over by abolitionists and Confederates.
Right.
So you have a bunch of basically our lessons about the Civil War were, here's some general Civil War knowledge. Okay, now let's talk about John Brown.
Yeah, John Brown's raid.
A lot of John Brown stuff.
Right.
A lot of bloody Kansas, and yeah. So
Yeah, right, right.
It just turned into a bunch of people shooting people because they wanted the chunk of land to acknowledge slavery. Like, it wasn't a state. It had no power. They're just like, no, this hunk of land is going to be okay with it.
Yeah. So, well, you were like the West at that point, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you were, it's funny though, being on field trips, I start to notice things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, cause I don't really know any kids here other than my own kid,
Right.
but I'm looking around and all these kids are in like 4th grade. Right.
Mm-hmm. And they all have names like Parker and I'm trying to think of a very white girl name.
Like a Haley.
Yeah. Or, Parker, Haley. Anyway, yeah.
No, I mean, you're not
Parker.
wrong. Carter. Yeah, they're all of that is there for sure.
Carter's gluten allergy. He can't have any.
We'll talk in a second about how weird it is to be a parent, on one of these things. I enjoyed it very much. I have to say, I really did enjoy it. And I learned some things, Nathan. But I'm looking around at these kids and I'm like, wait, how old are these kids? These kids are like 10. Maybe some of them are like 9, 10, somewhere in there. And there's this one little dude. This dude has a full-on stash. Like, we're talking like the stash I had when I was 15.
Okay.
Like not Peach Fuzz. We're talking like not what I have right now as a grown-ass man, but like enough where you're like, you don't shave it because you're proud of it.
Right.
You're like, look what I did.
Right.
And I don't know what they're doing, man. Maybe it's all the milk or something, like the dairy beer.
It sounds like that kid is going to be like all of the people. If you ever look at like 70s baseball cards.
Oh, yeah.
And you find like a rookie card from the 70s and that rookie looks like they're 45. That's that kid.
Yeah, totally. I was like shocked. I couldn't even take it in the other day. I got totally distracted learning about like Ethan Allen or some bullshit.
Right. And here we go. Nope, that's a 36-year-old. I'm trying to find a good example of an old looking rookie here. Because there are so many. Well,
totally.
You know what? We'll go John Smoltz. He's not even the oldest.
Oh, I love John Smoltz.
But
from the Braves, man.
Yeah. But he definitely like that's not a young looking man right there.
How old would you say he is there?
Let's see. Okay. John, I mean that would be his rookie year.
Okay.
So because this
like
is
80s?
This is 89. This card
89.
is from 89. I know this design far too well. Let's see.
You are a baseball card collector, after all.
He would have been 22. That's a 22-year-old man right there.
My God, he also looks like a giant. I don't know if he is, but he looks huge.
Yeah, he's
20. Look at that stash. Yeah,
a 22-year-old man, and that's in the 80s. The 70s, it was way crazier. What's this? Oh, there we go. There's some 82, like Jeff Schneider. That's a rookie right there. That's an old looking man.
Oh my God. And you got to think, like, is it just cigarettes? Like, is that? But
I don't know. It makes me feel like a huge weenie all the time.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I still don't look most of the time to me like the age of these rookies on these cards.
I don't look like I'm about to be 40. Like, I don't. I look like a boy sometimes. I mean, maybe I'm shitting myself a little bit, like, or bullshitting myself.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I actually shit myself too. So I guess I am. That's about to be 40, but
or it. I mean, that could also be very childlike.
That's true.
You're regressing. You are no longer fully potty trained.
That could be. I gotta say, like, just for a moment here, we started the show almost 10 years ago now, right? Next year will have been 10 years, like February, I think. And so basically this show has carried me through my 30s. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel really good about that. I have to say, like,
it's an accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment. Like, we don't have as many episodes as some people, but we have another show. Yeah. Hell, we had 3. We've done a lot of different things.
We've done podcasting.
Yes. Yes.
And I would argue we've done better than many people who are more successful than us.
I would agree with that, which is why people should buy a goddamn sticker, because I'm a little sad. I'm a little sad this week because I put up the fucking stickers. I put up an announcement and nothing. And listen, I'm not blaming you guys out there, because we love you.
He's blaming you a little.
Many of you have already given us money for no good reason. We appreciate that.
He is still blaming you.
But please buy a goddamn sticker. It'll make me feel good.
Yeah, and he thinks it's your fault that it hasn't been bought, so he's blaming you.
I can't hear what's happening with Nathan right now. So
I'm just
saying is
nothing. He's blaming you for sure. It's definitely your fault.
Like I hear you, like, when you're back from the mic, but when you come into the mic, like, I
don't
can't
know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard something, but I don't know.
He's blaming you, though. It's definitely your fault. Anyway,
maybe we're having a connection issue. I don't know. The Inspirobot quote of the week. No, go ahead.
Oh, it's Podcastle. It's just Podcastle's fault.
Fucking A.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it to shut down on me now that I said something about it.
I do feel like it listens.
That's the artificial intelligent part of of this service.
Podcastle definitely listens, don't you? You do, don't you, Podcastle?
It's developing feelings. Oh no,
dude, you just glitched on me. I'm not bullshitting.
I know.
Did I glitch on you too?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. We're sorry. We're sorry, Podcastle. We love you. Inspirobot.
Yeah, Inspirobot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm jotting down something about Podcastle. Shh. Okay, and so I have two actually.
Okay.
I have two because I found I found them both pretty entertaining. Here's the first Inspirobot quote of the week.
Okay.
This one's pretty short. You can be the first woman to try to change what cannot be changed. I don't know how to take that one, but okay.
I'm not sure I can.
Yeah. No, I don't think you can. I don't think I can. A lot of people can't.
This goes back to what we were talking about before. If I'm leading a feminist group and I'm the woman inspiring change, I'm in the wrong place. I didn't do it right.
That's correct. All right, here's number 2. Now stay with me. This one's a little longer.
Okay.
But the longer ones so far I'm noticing are kind of better.
Okay.
Okay. This was written real biblically. Biblical.
Oh, good.
Joyous be the neighbor, for the neighbor voweth the mother, and be assured that no individual yet stroked his own butthole, yet wrote a song about it.
Okay.
Do you need to hear that again?
Yeah, run that one back by me.
Joyous, I said, joyous be the neighbor, for the neighbor voweth the mother, and be assured that no individual yet stroked his own butthole, yet wrote a song about it. And I believe that's from Sushi Jackknife 11 verses 12 through 14.
Right. What does voweth a mother mean? How does one voweth a mother?
I'm entertained by the butthole bit, though. That's
I mean that part is very entertaining.
If you stroke, you would, right? You would write a song about that.
If you stroked it,
yeah.
I mean, maybe. Potentially, I could see a decent song coming out of that.
I feel like Billy Joe Armstrong could handle that.
Yeah,
it seems like his territory.
You know, Violent Femmes. There could be
totally.
There could be a butthole stroking lyric in a Violent Femmes song, and I wouldn't blink an eye.
You could pretty easily put it into Add It Up.
Yeah,
you know,
Moldy Peaches.
Moldy Peaches could do
that.
That
wouldn't even be the weirdest lyric in one of their songs.
No, that's true. I think of Billy Joe because of that masturbation song at the end of one of the records.
Yeah.
All by myself. Remember that?
Right. Well, I mean, and also, like, he did write what is probably the greatest hit about masturbation.
That's true. That's true. Which would be, is that Longview or is that
Longview? Yeah.
Longview. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Longview.
Sit around and da, 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 da.
Yeah, I had forgotten a little bit about that song, and my now 8-year-old decided that he really liked Green Day, and I was listening to Longview. I'm like, they do directly say the word masturbate in this song.
So Oliver is singing "Bite My Lip and Close My Eyes."
He does.
Oh, it's "Welcome to Paradise."
It's "Welcome to Paradise."
Yeah.
That's it. He does not know all the lyrics to the song.
That's
and
good.
We are going to keep it that way. Although he does sing Eurythmics all the time around people.
The Sweet Dreams?
Yeah, Sweet Dreams. Yeah. Which is not necessarily better than Welcome to Paradise.
No. What other Eurythmics song does anyone give a shit about?
We've talked about how I am trying to work my way through the top 500 albums, right?
Oh yeah, we have talked about it. It's been a while, but yeah.
Well, I stopped and I'm back to doing it.
Okay, good. All right, good.
So this last week, one of the albums I listened to, I'm trying to remember which album it was. Touch. It's Touch.
Touch.
Was a Eurythmics album. Oh boy, that was a tough one for me.
Does not seem like your music at all.
You already know it's not the kind of music I enjoy. And then, I mean, it's 1983. Like it's very dated. It does not, to me, hold up at all.
Right. Well, the synthesizers have been outpaced by many other synthesizers.
Right. So I was listening to that going, oh, this is why no one ever talks about any other Eurythmics song besides Sweet Dreams.
Which is such an overplayed song as well.
But it's at least interesting sounding.
Yeah.
Like it's it doesn't sound like, well, I guess it was before Touch, that album. So it would have been before 1983.
Oh wow.
It doesn't sound older than Touch to me.
No,
there's going to be someone really upset with me for this idea. But it's, I don't understand how it got on the top 500, and I'll leave it at that.
That's fine. You're right about Sweet Dreams, though. It doesn't sound all that dated, even given the production style and everything. I was listening to Prince this week. Yeah. And some of his records in the early days, like, I'm not taking anything away from the songwriting or anything like that, because I fucking love Prince. Prince is amazing. But the actual like sonic quality of some of the records is so drastic. And it's that era, because like during that early 80s era, some people were trying to record like digitally and stuff like that onto digital tape machines and stuff. And it just doesn't have the fidelity that like regular tape has, but the digital wasn't good enough yet either. So it's like this like low fidelity era within there. And some of his stuff like Raspberry Beret like does not sound good at all. Like it sounds, as you know, sonically, you know, like the engineering's good, but like, you know, the overall anyway. There
are quite a few of his that I've listened to and I'm like, I don't know that I'm coming back to this one, just because it's a little bit painful to listen to in 2024.
Yeah. But you put on something like Kiss, you know, Kiss sounds amazing.
That does sound very
today. You know, today it's thick and full, and it's just like, it's everything a record should be.
I think that is thick and full. I think that is the difference. Is so many of those just sound like they're halfway done. Like that's what it sounds like, because it's what they could get onto their tape or whatever they were. Maybe that's what their instrument could do. I don't know.
Right. There's a lot of considerations. It's never just one thing usually.
None of them are as big as they wanted them to be.
Right.
I'm willing to bet. And then you have a whole different world in the 80s too, where people who weren't using synthesizers insisted on having a saxophone solo in every song.
So true. It's so very true. Another band that I love from that time period is the Replacements. I think we can agree about the Replacements, but their records mostly sound bad. I don't know what's happening. And like some of them were done at Ardent in Memphis and stuff, but like, and some of them were done in, I think, Milwaukee or somewhere, you know, they're from like Wisconsin, somewhere within there, Minneapolis, maybe. Anyway, some of them sound good and some of them just don't. They have that thing. They have that like thin thing going on. You know? I will, for any Eurythmics fans listening that are upset with me, I will say it's not the lowest album that I've listened to so far. So they're not the worst, if that makes you feel any better. It does. What's one of the worst ones you've experienced? The Stone Roses. I couldn't do the Stone Roses. I remember this. I told you about this. I couldn't do it. Yeah, we had a text thread about this one so this is Rolling Stone Top 500, right? Yeah. Okay. It's the self-titled Stone Roses album, which has "I Want to Be Adored" on it, I believe. Yeah, which is like the only. I hate to say it, but it's like the only Stone Roses song you really need to know. Yeah. It keeps getting mentioned as like the precursor of Britpop. And I get it, but it's also like watered down Britpop and also like watered down grunge era music. Like
It's just not enough of anything to be good.
I know what you're saying. And they came out of Manchester around the same time as the Smiths. And I mean, whether you like the mopey thing with the Smiths or not, I think there's an argument to be made. I love the Smiths. There's an argument to be made that the Smiths are they're a great band. You know, great songs.
And better than the Stone Roses.
Way better than this. I mean, Johnny Marr being one of the most brilliant guitar players of that era. Melodically interesting, and then Morrissey being one of the best lyricists, I would say, of that era.
Unbearable prick, but great lyrics. Totally. If the Stone Roses, the guys from the Stone Roses may be more pleasant than Morrissey. So they win there. In fact, they probably are more pleasant than Morrissey.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. There's another band that my old pal Greg hit me to this week that I don't think I knew about before, from the same era, and they sound a lot like Stone Roses, but I hadn't heard of them. I don't know if they're actually British or not. I think they are. They're called the Charlatans, and their big tune is called "The Only One I Know." It's really good. I recommend it.
Now, is it better than the Stone Roses?
It's close to being as good as "I Want to Be Adored." Okay, it's close.
Well, and "I Want to Be Adored" is better than most of the songs on that album. So
yeah, totally. And I think they had a lot of copycats, you know, and it could be one of those cases where like some of the copycats were actually better.
Well, and if we want to make the argument that they're on the list because of impact and not because of quality of music, that's fine. You can make that argument, but I don't want to listen to it.
How far along are you on the
I keep bouncing around and not listening to albums from there and just listening to current music that pops up.
That's funny.
But I've got like 15 or 20 that I've gone through.
That's good.
And you have to take your time. You have to digest them.
Sure. And you don't always have the attention span to listen to a whole record. I mean, It's just the way it is.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is when I'm doing it, I don't want to start and then have to stop. It has to be one, for me to get the correct feeling, it has to be one solid listen all the way through. Because if I stop and then I come back, then I'll be like, oh, this is interesting. But it might not have been interesting if I'd listened to the 5 songs before it that sound exactly the same.
Right.
Right. I went back and I listened to Yankee Hotel Foxtrot because it's on the list.
Great record.
But I broke it up in the middle. So then I had to go back and start from the beginning again later. Which is still a great album. I'm not taking anything away from it. In fact, it makes it better if you listen to it all the way through, because the songs do a good job of leading into each other and it's a complete work. Whereas if you stop halfway through and then come back, you don't realize how complete of an album it is all the way through. So
totally. Yeah. There are several really good Wilco albums.
Mm-hmm.
Several. I mean, they're doing better than most people.
Yeah. So, you want to be able to listen to it all the way through to hear what people were doing. Sometimes it won't matter, but I want to listen to it all the way through. So,
of course, absolutely.
Anyway, Stone Roses is worse than the Eurythmics in conclusion.
I like that. We got there.
Yeah, that's it.
I found myself, and let me explain a little bit before my hipster cred gets called into question here.
Oh boy.
I found myself listening to no, I did listen to the whole thing. I did break it up a little, but I listened to an entire Kiss album front to back this week.
I mean, I'm going to have to do that. I think they have one album on the list.
Do they really? Okay, probably. So. Yeah, I wonder which one it is. This was their second album, which I think is called Hotter Than Hell.
Okay.
Now, I've never, ever, ever been attracted to this band, and I'm still not. The reason I'm doing it is actually because of another podcast, a sub podcast of a podcast I listen to on their Patreon, which is called Rock and Roll All Night and Podcast Every Day.
Okay.
These guys are like 10, 15 years older than we are. And Kiss was a big band for them. They're fans. And they're basically listening through each record and commenting on each record and saying, hey, what songs on this record belong in the top 20 Kiss songs ever? Right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. And so it's just not my thing because I'm not really like, they're not metal exactly, but they're sort of like almost proto metal, I guess you'd say, or hard rock. And that's never been my shit. Like I'm a song boy, indie rock boy, you know?
Right.
So yeah, an entire Kiss album.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were things I liked about it. I you know, not being a hard rock or metal person, there's not a lot that I can grab onto. Like lyrically, it's really weak. Like, you know. No, it's not really weak. That's not hard enough on it. True. Yeah. It's god awful lyrically. How about that?
We do have to always remember that their biggest lyrics are that they want to rock and roll all night and party every day, which is that's not good.
No, it works. But, you know, I found myself thinking about Beastie Boys a lot.
Okay.
Because early Beastie Boys is kind of the same thing in a different genre of like, you got to fight for your right to party. Rock and roll all night, party every. It's like these anthems, right? I see the comparison. You see what I'm getting at? What happened though is like the Beastie Boys progressed, and Kiss did not. Like as far as I know, I haven't really listened, but like I don't think they did a whole lot. You know,
there is a lot similar there when you think about it too, because like the Beastie Boys, their first album was essentially, how do we become popular?
Yes.
And they wrote dumbed down songs.
Yes.
Because they knew they would be popular. And Kiss made a whole career out of doing that. The Beastie Boys then used their dumbed down songs to make Paul's Boutique, which was not dumbed down, and so not dumbed down that it failed at the time.
Yes. Well, and also you have... I don't think everyone in Kiss is Jewish, but you have at least a couple of people. At least Gene Simmons is Jewish.
Gene Simmons, yeah,
from New York. You know, and the Beastie Boys are 3 Jewish guys from New York. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting in a way.
Yeah, they're I wouldn't have ever put them together.
Me neither. It just happened because I was listening to it and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
It you know.
Their label, by the way, in case you need it for Wikipedia, they are hard rock, heavy metal, shock rock, and glam metal.
Yeah, that tracks. That sounds right.
So probably I would say heavier on the glam metal than the shock rock.
Well, you put Alice Cooper in that category too.
Yeah, but Alice Cooper is a lot more shocking than Kiss, who essentially just wore paint and had a lot of pyrotechnics.
That's true. I guess they had the blood thing, I guess. Like,
yeah, I guess.
You know, I guess.
I mean, Alice Cooper is the definition of shock rock.
Absolutely. He I guess you would say he invented it, right? Like,
yeah. If he didn't invent it, he perfected it. Totally. He's the one who did it best.
Totally.
He's the person who offended the most people with his his antics at the time.
Absolutely.
And the album on the top 500 is Alive. It is Alive.
Okay.
The Kiss album Alive.
Which I think is where Rock and Roll All Night, Party Every Day.
Yeah.
It's a live version, but I think that's the version we all know, I think.
Well, I was just looking it up. So their summary of it was by 1975, that's when the album came out. Kiss had released 3 albums, all commercial failures. The band couldn't seem to translate their live energy into the studio. The obvious solution: release a live album. So there we go.
There you go. I mean, actually, it's kind of a genius move.
Yeah, it makes sense. I really do wish there were more bands that did that, because there are a lot of bands I have seen live that were great, and then you hear their album and it's just weak, and
you get it both ways.
Yeah.
Because some people can make a kick-ass record but don't have a great
live
show, though. I think my requirements for a live show are low.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to see you play the songs. Like, that's kind of it.
Yeah, but there are those one live shows you go to where the song is big and it fills up the entire room and everyone's engrossed in the song, and then you hear it recording and it's like,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
That's true.
The best example for me is Manchester Orchestra.
Oh yeah, I remember that band.
Has the song "Where Have You Been?"
Uh-huh.
And back in the day, they would close with "Where Have You Been?" And it has this huge drum part, and the drummers from the other bands they were playing with would come out and play a floor tom along with this huge drum part. And the lead singer is screaming into the mic, and then you hear the recorded version, and it's pretty.
It's real pretty. Not nearly as like powerful.
No, it's like half the energy, and you're like, oh, you lost all of what you did live when you recorded this.
That's a bummer.
It's still a very good song. If you hadn't seen it live, you'd hear it and go, yeah, that's great. But
I want to apologize for the sniffles again. I don't know why the fuck this happens to me. And it undermines. Yeah, I'm broken. It undermines my ability as a broadcaster. I'm just going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It's almost part of the show at this point. Like what is?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so awful.
That's another segment idea if you want to write it down. Justin sniffles for 5 minutes.
I like that. I chop them out. So I don't chop them all out. Because that would be a lot of work.
It would be too much work to do that.
I chop out the really gross ones, though, most of the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A band, we went down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
I've never seen this band live, but the records are heavy as fuck. And I wonder if they're a good example of a band that does it well both ways.
Okay.
And they may not be a band that you like, but Slipknot, like those cats.
You know what? They probably are a good example if you like their music.
Yeah,
because their album, their music is very heavy. Recorded,
it's so heavy.
Yeah. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not true. I like a few songs. I do like a few songs. Yeah,
but I have heard they're very good live. For the people who, again, like their music.
Sure.
It's very good live. So, yeah, they would be a good example.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And they're more shocking than Kiss. They did Kiss better than Kiss did it.
Oh, you're right. That's true. Because they got like 9 people in their band, and they all have a different mask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And the music is so much darker and so much more fucked up. It's... I actually have a lot of respect for that band, though, because at the same time, they were able to write a couple of tunes that were like legitimately good.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call them pop tunes, but they have all the elements of like a pop tune, like a good, strong melody, a big chorus,
There's something about a band that makes it doing something that shouldn't be popular.
Yeah.
But they make it just because of essentially marketing.
Yeah.
Like they marketed themselves really well.
Right.
There's something about that you're like, good for them. Good for them. Because no one should ever listen to, like, Slipknot music should not be available to people for the most part. Like, it's not, there shouldn't be an audience for Slipknot anywhere.
That's hilarious. Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
That's just
not a type of music that has a broad audience. No record label should want to touch it.
Well, that's a valid point.
Nowadays, it would be very available, but in the 90s,
sure,
they had to have a record label to do anything.
Well, we really came up through, like our high school years. At least what was on the radio and on MTV, like, unless it was more emo stuff, it was just like really hard. Like you had the new metal, and then you had like just like, I mean, Slipknot's like straight up metal, I would say, or I don't know what subgenre it falls into, but like all that shit, it was all about being hard. Like grunge wasn't exactly that. Grunge was a little bit different. Like
grunge was moody.
It was
moody, and Korn was not. It wasn't about being moody.
It's about being fucked up and being hard, in a way. And that's the era we kind of came up through. And I'm glad it's over. Like, but like rock music kind of sucked when I was in high school.
It really did. I was thinking about this the other day. This is how bad it was for a while. Mainstream rock that was on the radio. There was a point where Alien Ant Farm's cover of Smooth Criminal.
Yeah.
You heard that and you were like, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah. We were all very excited about it. Like,
I mean, it's still pretty good, but like at the time it was like, wow, this is okay.
It was absolutely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And it's not great. Like listening to it.
No.
It's not a fantastic version of the song. Nothing they did was great. It was just slightly different than Korn and Limp Bizkit and
right. Two things. One, I own that Alien Ant Farm CD, and I think it's actually pretty good. Like
I have a burned copy. It's not bad.
Hey, there you go.
Compared to what was out there at the time, it's fantastic.
Totally.
It's fine.
In today, I mean, it's a 20-something-year-old album at this point, which is crazy. The band that I've said this before, but the band that I will always defend coming out of that era, I think, is System of a Down, because I think they were actually interesting and actually doing their own thing. They had all this cultural background they were drawing from, and it was in the music,
Well, and they were musically better. I feel like
they were.
I don't know.
Super
maybe
tight.
Maybe I was just biased, but
no. I think they were. I mean, they could switch genres mid song.
Yeah.
And not miss a beat, as it were. So yeah.
I would like to know, anyone who is listening, this would be an excellent time to email Justin. What the band is from when you were in high school that was very popular that you listen to now and you're like, what the fuck was that? What?
Yeah.
Like I mean, Limp Bizkit when we were in junior high and high school, like that was popular, and not just sort of popular, very popular,
extremely popular. Yeah, that's so true, and it went right along with all the huge jeans and everything else that we were doing.
Why?
Well, yeah, them and God, Papa Roach and shit like that. Just, oh God. And that was the thing, like the thing that those people seem to have learned from grunge and from Nirvana was like, you must be fucked up.
Yeah.
Like
not
that seems
not the takeaway you're supposed to get there.
No, not like reach down into your soul and write something good. And yeah, sure, you can be a little weird. Like Nirvana was weird in their way. But like, yeah, that's the one thing that all those bands seem to have taken from that era is like, just be fucked up,
Well, and they all missed the part of Kurt Cobain where Kurt Cobain was essentially writing pop music.
Yes.
Like he was just writing pop songs with a really heavily distorted guitar.
Totally. And he could sing really well. And they also missed his irony,
Right.
Completely.
There's a heavy dose of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
Oh my God. Well, that was a long offshoot about music, as we are wont to do.
It happens.
It happens on this show. Sure.
Yeah. I got nothing else for it.
I did want to tell the people.
Yes.
I want to tell the people that we do have. I'm gonna stay on, fucking X, because we have a couple of friends on there.
Yeah, X
that I talk to pretty much exclusively on there.
Oh, are you talking about Twitter?
Yeah. I'm gonna stay on there because of that. But we now also have an Instagram and a Threads, which are both at Sushi Jackknife. So if you are interested,
I did the X with my fingers, so now I'm trying to do like the Threads.
What is that? Is that an app?
It's like a twisty.
Yeah,
it's like a cheese doodle.
Oh yeah. You know the Airbnb symbol?
Uh-huh.
It looks like the internals of a vagina. It does.
Hold on.
Like the tubes and shit. Like you won't be able to unsee it after you see this.
Oh, yep. That is yeah, that's it right there.
It occurred to me one day, because I don't Airbnb a whole lot, but I have been lately. And
it does feel like health class.
Yeah. It's a little upside down, granted, but
yeah, well, that's what happens when your gym teacher is teaching health class, like they always did. They don't know which way to hang the chart. They show up, they put it up on the wall, and then they scream about not getting people pregnant for 45 minutes, and then you leave.
Will you tell me if something is funny?
Sure.
I wrote this down forever ago. Okay. As an idea for like a bit, a sketch, something like that. Imagine a scene.
Okay.
And if the answer is no, it's totally fine. Imagine a scene where a group of high school ninth graders is in a health class, right? But in this scene, they're all actors, so they're all like 25, right?
Right, naturally.
Naturally. And the teacher at the front of the class is a woman.
Okay.
And she's explaining, you know how they do that thing where you show people how to put a condom on and you use a banana. And you roll the thing down the thing. But the thing with her is she doesn't have one banana. She has a bunch of bananas. And she's attempting to put the one condom over the entire. Is that funny?
You know what? I like that. I like this. Yes.
Thank you. I don't know that there's much there, but just
that does feel like the level of sex education I received.
It's either like she doesn't really know what's going on, or two, she's just used to more than one in an instance.
Yeah, but if she's used to more than one in an instance, and this is like, I don't want to mansplain things.
Sure.
For all the ladies out there, if it's more than one in an instance, individual condoms for each one. You don't have all the guys jump into one condom together, okay?
And that's your PSA for the week, Sushi Jackknife.
There we go. Sushi Jackknife. Oh, man.
I'm sorry.